Live on Talksport, it will be Oxford or Arsenal to go to the Etihad to pit their wits against Pep Guardiola. If it's Oxford, then Carl Robinson and Pep have met before. If it's Arsenal, well, Mikel Arteta's got the better of Pep Guardiola in the FA Cup before, so that should be an interesting one. The ball boys and mascots have the flags flying in the tunnel, waiting for the players to come out. The ball's on the plinth. As we await the players, you can see the patches on the pitch. Doesn't look perfect, Danny, the pitch by any means, does it?
No, it doesn't, but we are spoiled, aren't we? We're used to carpets, we're used to not seeing a patch of mud anywhere. These are the type of pitches that I grew up on and I started playing on, so it feels like home to me a bit. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that it levels teams up from the Premier League who aren't used to it down to League One and League Two and even the non-league teams I've seen this weekend. Everything about the FA Cup is encapsulated in what we see right now.
It is. Big mosaic, yellow and blue, away to our right, created by the Oxford fans. Good visuals, looks good as the players make their way out. I can tell you that Charlie Baker will be on H&J tomorrow. He's a local, he's here tonight at the game as well. Proper football fan, even though he supports neither of these two sides. But the teams are out. We're getting set. Less than 5 to kick off. This is Oxford, a learning centre of the world, home of arguably the most famous university on the planet. But I've checked the prospectus. They don't do a degree in football, and that is what Carl Robinson will need to get past Arteta's Arsenal. Top and flying in the Premier League. It's live tonight here on Talksport with FA Cup winner Danny Murphy. He's alongside you, commentator Jim Proudfoot.
Adrian, thank you. So follow that. It's been one of the most engaging, enthralling FA Cup third rounds in years. And it concludes here at Oxford with the most successful side in the history of the competition, starting their campaign for a 15th cup triumph. Half of those honours have come since the turn of the century, a period in which they've had more Wembley successes than chastening cup KOs. But even they haven't been immune to the odd, unwanted chapter of cup history. A year ago tonight, they suffered at the hands of Nottingham Forest, a rare third-round elimination that prompted an apology from Mikel Arteta, which became a springboard for everything Forest went on to achieve. And such is the nature of this wonderful optimism-fueled Gunners campaign that the gap between priorities in League and Cup might just have surreptitiously, subconsciously widened. Oxford certainly hope so. After a weekend in which they've witnessed 4 Premier League sides succumb to lower division opposition and 4 of their own number from League One make it through to the 4th round, a barrow load of evidence that the unlikely and even the unfeasible can happen in a competition whose reputation has been built on nights like this. Well, Oxford recall Billy Bowden, who's led in 3 goals in the 2 FA Cup ties this season, and Josh Murphy, who's got Premier League experience with Norwich and Cardiff. It's McGinty in goal, Anderson, Moore, Long and Brown. McGuane, who made 2 appearances for Arsenal as a teenager, anchors the midfield. Bate, who's on loan from Leeds, and Brannigan, who played in the Premier League for Liverpool, are either side of him. And a front 3 of Murphy, Taylor and Bowden. 5 of this Arsenal team started at Forest last season. Gabriel, Saka, Martinelli and Nketiah all started against Newcastle on Tuesday. And even though there are 7 changes, the 11 have 213 international caps between them. It's Turner in goal, Tomiyasu holding Gabriel and Tierney, Elneny and Lokonga, Saka, Fabio Vieira, Martinelli and Nketiah. And Smith Rowe's back on the bench, hoping for his first minutes in 4 months. Well, in his managerial career, Carl Robinson's masterminded 10 cup victories over sides from higher divisions. But another one tonight would eclipse any FA Cup day that he's enjoyed. They are the FA Cup's most successful team and Premier League leaders, and they're firmly in Oxford's sights. Twice this century, the club at the very top of the pile have lost to a League One side in the Cup. Can Arsenal avoid the same fate here in Oxford tonight? Arsenal in all white shirts, shorts, socks and even numbers. And Arsenal defend the end away to our left-hand side, the open end of the Kassam Stadium. And Oxford in their dark yellow shirts with the dark blue trim, and an early nervy touch from Long, who's playing centre half these days, ordinarily a right back, and he shanked a ball out to the right back Anderson, straight behind him, and out of play for an Arsenal throw. I'm delighted to say that Danny Murphy is alongside me for this. 30 seconds in on a cold, crisp night that encompasses so much of what is good about cup football.
It does indeed. Looking forward to it. They've done us a right favour, haven't they, by making the Arsenal numbers disappear with the all white. Good job we know our football, Jim.
I will talk about the Oxford players in possession, and you can do the rest. Here's on the Oxford left-hand side an early chance for McGuane to try and get the ball forward, but Tomiyasu is in there to win it back. McGuane very quickly, a hive of industry in there, recovered the situation, and Brown, the Northern Ireland international fullback, pings it long for Oxford towards halfway. Mopped up in that Arsenal midfield by Lokonga, who gets it back for Turner, whose white number is visible on his lime green shirt. Forward from him to Rob Holding. Holding twice won the FA Cup in his time with the Gunners in 2017 and 2020. He plays it out towards Tomiyasu and now out towards Gabriel on the left-hand side of the Arsenal penalty area. And they can make steady progress. We're 90 seconds in here on Talksport. It's Oxford 0, Arsenal 0. Jim Proudfoot and Danny Murphy talking you through the action from the Kassam Stadium. And good a pressure is applied there by Josh Murphy. And he's forced an error out of Gabriel. It's a throw, which will be taken by Oxford. Murphy, one of the Murphy twins, his brother, of course, at Newcastle, still playing at Premier League football. Josh has struggled for fitness, arrived here at Oxford from Cardiff. They have now got him fit. He's starting just the third game of the season tonight. Tierney, twice a Scottish Cup winner, works it forward. Mopped up at the back by Long for Oxford, wearing 2, and he's done well to poke it forward through the midfield for Bate, who's been a revelation in his loan spell here at Oxford from Leeds, the former Chelsea man. Now McGuane, down towards Brown. Brown just in from the left-hand touchline, plays it back for Long. And Brannigan, who will just drop deep and split the two centre-halves, the former Liverpool man. Exchanges passes firstly with Long, then with Moore. And the centre-halves can keep good possession. It was something that has been well documented. It's one of Carl Robinson's footballing philosophies and principles. They don't look long. They won't change things on a night like this up against a more established team from the upper echelons. They will play their game and see where it gets them. And the ball just given away for a moment there in the midfield. And Arsenal hugely relieved that Fabio Vieira's error didn't lead to something a lot more constructive for Oxford, who couldn't get a chance out of it. Oxford work it back to their goalkeeper, but they will play out from the back. McGinty forced under pressure that time from Vieira, has to go long, and it drifts out of play for a throw which Arsenal will take on halfway.
Bit sloppy, wasn't it? Bit sloppy from Vieira. Got to get your first touch in nice and sharp, make sure it goes to one of your own shirts. It was poor, gave McGuane, I think it was, an opportunity. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, the philosophy of trying to play through the lines and play good football and entertain the crowd's always been his way. Why would you change just because better opposition are coming? There are times to be pragmatic, of course, and that's the sign of any good team, the ability to vary your play.
Gabriel's got it for Arsenal. Oxford will be more than happy just to drop off and allow the Gunners progress forward towards halfway before engaging. Ball played forward by Bukayo Saka. And Long comes across and flicks it out of play. It'll be a throw which will be taken again on the Arsenal right-hand side by Saka. Back for Tomiyasu, who's actually making his FA Cup debut today. He's one of 3 in this Arsenal side who've never played in the competition before, along with goalkeeper Matt Turner and also Fabio Vieira. Arsenal trying to work the ball through the midfield, but referee David Coote has given a free kick Oxford's way. Decent start from Carl Robinson's men, 4 gone 0-0.
It is, yeah. They got the ball down, they played a few little moves. Not threatening the Arsenal backline really yet, but give the lads confidence. Not been a high press from Arsenal really. Keeping their shape. Same shape, by the way, for Arsenal that they always play, which I always like to see. It gives consistency to the players to understand the roles. Even those who come in off the bench, they know what they're doing. We talked earlier, didn't we, about Chelsea and all their different formations being confusing for players, but this Arsenal side rarely change. I don't think I remember seeing them change at all this season for anybody.
And Oxford similarly playing with the 4-3-3 that they are so accustomed to. They've not been in great form. They won one of the last 5 games, but lost 2 of the last 3, most recently in action here against Exeter. A game in which they dominated, but lost by a goal to 0. But that is their only reverse here in the last 6 matches on home soil. Holding, coming across, heads it away from Oxford's number 9, Matty Taylor. Holding has a significant height advantage above the Oxford centre forward and will be expected to be able to deal with any kind of aerial threat that Oxford try and provide, and that's one of the reasons why you don't expect that they will go that way. They'll try and find a way through. One of the other interesting candidates tonight, the Dutchman Anderson, playing at right back for Oxford, a right back who is a brilliant right winger, not necessarily a brilliant right back. It'll be interesting to see how he copes with Martinelli, if Martinelli can get his foot on the ball at all.
Well, what did he say? Best form of defence is attack. We heard Carl Robinson talking about him, didn't we, when he was talking to Adrian earlier about his love of going forward. So that'll give Martinelli a problem, but they've just got to get enough possession to get him up the pitch first and foremost.
Arsenal work it long towards halfway. Eddie Nketiah involved, Long picking up the pieces. A ball that forced Moore to retrace his steps more quickly than he'd anticipated, but he can still get it forward Long down the right-hand side. Murphy the target, and it ends up ricocheting off the aforementioned Anderson and going out of play for a throw that'll be taken over on the Arsenal left. Oxford's form's been patchy. Leaving the mid-table in League One, Arsenal's anything but 19 wins out of the last 24 games in all competitions. It's been an astonishing run that they've had. Only a couple of defeats on the road so far at Man United and at PSV. Ball played inside the penalty area from the Oxford right. Murphy just trying to chip it forward for Taylor. Couldn't find him. It was comfortably dealt with by Turner, whose last action was playing for the States in the World Cup. And now a bit of shirt pulling going on. Elliot Moore is the player that has been penalised, and it's a free kick that will be taken by Arsenal on halfway. But 7 minutes that have been played at a good tempo, very watchable so far, albeit that neither goalkeeper's had a save to make.
Yeah, the only thing when you play against Arsenal is with the power and the sharpness they've got in attacking areas. You can think you're doing well for 10 minutes, and they can hurt you with one counter or one quick bit of skill. That's the dynamic they have now high up the pitch, that ability to hurt you really, really quickly. I'm thinking Nketiah is another one who's come in and done really well. Pleased for him, because there was people doubting him, and he's scored 2 in his 3 starts since the return of the Premier League after the World Cup, so credit to him.
Yeah, he netted against West Ham and against Brighton as well. And the offside flag is up here as Arsenal try and get it forward, really for the first time that they've been able to turn the Oxford back line. But Saka making his run a little bit too early. Looks over and questions the decision from Lee Betts, the assistant referee, but the flag was up. There is no VAR tonight for this game. Said you and a few million others. That was an interesting call in that Wolves-Liverpool game the other day. And that was the game that had VAR. But no VAR tonight. It's a free kick here for the offside, which is going to be taken by Oxford's Scottish-born Irish under-21 international goalkeeper Ed McGinty. And he clatters it forward left-footed. Over halfway. Bodin going up for it, whose dad once scored a goal at Highbury in the Premier League against Arsenal in his Swindon days. Paul Bodin.
Tommy the Welsh international.
Absolutely, yeah. Billy, who has played his football in the West Country. More games for Bristol Rovers than any of his other clubs. He excelled at my club Torquay as well early in his career. Had a spell at Preston before coming here. And recalled tonight on the Oxford left. But it's on the Arsenal left where the ball is now. Martinelli, edge of the penalty area. Just laying it back here for Tierney, and he gets an instant return ball. Martinelli back for Tierney, left-hand side of the box, and Anderson comes across. The first examination he's had defensively. He's dealt with that okay, and flicks it away right-footed, now to play for a corner.
I like that down the right-hand side. You know, if you're being attacked, you follow your runners, you communicate. One of you goes to the ball, the other one follows his runner. Basics of football done well, especially at these levels, probably more and more, because that's what you get drilled into every day. But it's something that we see in the Premier League that's neglected a little bit, tracking runners, especially in wide areas, I think, these days, more than ever.
Now, Anderson and Murphy got the job done there for Oxford. A few yellow paper aeroplanes thrown onto the pitch as the corner comes in. It's a little near post flick that will break for Gabriel. Back in from Tierney again in towards the near post, and it just took another touch off an Oxford defender, and McGinty almost stopped it going out of play for a corner, but the ball over the line by the time he'd made the save. So Arsenal will have their second corner of the game. 10 minutes in, it's 0-0 here on Talksport. The Gunners beginning to apply a modicum of pressure. Now, Nenny on the edge of the penalty area just made a quick darting run as if he wanted a short one to be played to him. McGuane had his eye on him, and so Tierney's fired it in instead, holding amongst those who was up there waiting to attack it. Gabriel too. And Oxford get it away. It'll come back in the next phase of play, though. Driven ball in from Tierney, and a decent header from Brown will steer it out towards the touchline, where Arsenal will be more than happy to let it run out of play for a throw.
2 headers from Brown. Great defensive header off the corner as well from him. Really important. And then doing his job with the second phase where the ball, he was actually outnumbered on the back post. Good defending.
Tomiyasu taking the throw for Arsenal. Doesn't get the return ball despite the attempts of Nketiah, who ducked his head in and tried to guide it back to him, but he got the angle wrong, and it's gone out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by McGinty. Well, unsurprisingly, there haven't been too many meetings of these two sides in history. This is the 10th tonight. Oxford have won a couple of them. Those 2 victories coming in successive seasons across town from here at the Manor Ground back in the 80s. One of those saw Oxford knock Arsenal out of the League Cup, coming from behind to win 3-2 with a rare goal from David Langan. The 2 previous FA Cup meetings both came in the 3rd round, 20 years ago this week and 60 years ago this month. Arsenal won both of those pretty handily. The most recent of them, seeing Dennis Bergkamp score his 100th Arsenal goal in a 2-0 win. Oxford in possession in the midfield. Bates done well to hook the ball over his shoulder, but he couldn't find a man, and Arsenal will be able to bring it forward, and they're having more and more possession as the game goes on. Tierney getting the ball in, swept away by Moore, and no nonsense defensive clearance, but just getting it off the island, allowing Oxford the opportunity to reset defensively and prepare for a throw.
Yeah, just starting to gain a little bit of territory, aren't they? Just ease their way into this game, Arsenal. Not seeing the high press, high intensity that we sometimes see from Arteta's side, understandably so as well.
Well, they got a chance to flood the penalty area here. Tierney's got the ball in his hand. He's just dried it on a towel down on the touchline. Hurls it is a really good throw. Good flick on at the near post. And Brown again has done well to defend it. He just got a left foot to it to help flick it away. And it goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Arsenal right-hand side. But so far, they have been able to answer any pressure that has come inside their penalty area, Oxford. Defensively, pretty tidy. They've conceded 13 in 12 games here over the course of the campaign. They've actually got a losing record at home in League One this season, with the 4 wins and 5 defeats on home turf. Throw taken by Tomiyasu in towards Saka and cleared immediately by Bowden, straight out of play for a throw, which again the Gunners will take this one right down by the corner flags. 0-0 on Talksport with 13 minutes in. Saka controlling it, sticking out a left foot, guiding it back off balance to Tomiyasu. El Neni, nearly 100 Egyptian caps behind him, laying it back inside his own half for holding. Gabriel's going to be able to bring it forward here. Worked into the feet of Fabio Vieira in midfield, who Arsenal haven't really been able to get too involved so far. Now it's chipped forward. Eddie Nketiah chesting it down. Martinelli didn't see the ball arrive at his feet, and Bates going to be able to bring it away. And a clever little drop of the shore, and then good reverse ball. Infuses the Oxford fans. Bowden lays it off. McGuane has it, and then gets it immediately back again from Bate. Brown making his way forward down this near touchline, the Oxford left. Pulls it back for McGuane towards halfway. Long to his right-hand side for Moore. A former Leicester player working it for Murphy, trying to take the ball on the turn. Just saw a heavy touch penalised by Gabriel, who got it away. And Oxford's most constructive attack for a while, just that fizzles out. Now Arsenal work it back for Turner, who needed a couple of touches to bring the ball under control before getting it forward right-footed upfield. And that was something we saw of him in the World Cup, that when he was put under pressure in those United States games, he did look a little bit panic-stricken with the ball at his feet at times, and Oxford, immediately the ball went back to him, did their best to try and force an error.
Well, it was nice seeing the little intricate passing in the middle of the pitch from Bate. Technically very good, good awareness, wasn't it? Nice feet. First little glimpse of him and his creative role in this team. Here we go.
Anderson has lost out. Martinelli trying to get in behind him. It's on the edge of the penalty area. Martinelli clipping it right-footed to Saka, bottom right corner of the area. Tomiyasu on the overlap for him, fizzes it in. McGinty does well, got down, good handling at the near post, and the danger passes.
Poor cross from Tomiyasu, got in a great position on the overlap, inside the box on the right-hand side. Anywhere but the keeper's hands. Poor decision. A little bit of calmness in the final third you need sometimes.
Well, McGinty making a decent save. He's pretty unexperienced in English football, Ed McGinty. Keeper that they signed from Sligo Rovers. He's played in the League Cup ties and the FA Cup ties this season, but only recently, because of an injury to Simon Eastwood, had some opportunities in the league. A few oohs and ahs from the Oxford fans as Turner's control again threatened to let him down, but he got away with it.
To be fair, it was a bad back pass, bobbling all over the place.
Yeah, particularly on this surface.
Yeah, you know, you got to be better with that. Give him a chance.
Lokonga to Holding. Kedia dropping off in the midfield. Lokonga driving it forward. Fabio Vieira letting it run for Martinelli, who's going to be able to bring it forward and bring it forward with some pace as well. Tierney outside him, chipped inside the area. Saka stretches out a leg, tries to bring it down. Bodin completed the defensive job for Oxford. He cut out Saka's layoff to Tomiyasu and then did well to play it off the Japanese and out of play for what has been given as a goal kick, although the reaction of Tomiyasu and Saka, both immediately in unison, herring after the assistant referee.
It was a corner.
Suggested it should have been a corner.
Yeah, it was. It was. But again, the overlap. Talked about track and runners there. It was too quick thinking from Tierney. Again, he got in a good position. Left-hand side this time. Overhit the cross.
So McGinty spots the ball down and he'll launch it forward left-footed here.
That attack, Jim, all started because of the reliability of Nketiah. They fired a ball into him, one touch back, one touch out wide. So important when you play that lone roll up front that you're reliable when the ball comes into you. Otherwise you can't get out. I think that's one part of his game in the last few weeks that he's surprised some people with. Takes the ball into his feet nicely, doesn't mind a bit of contact. His link-up's good.
Yeah, he's another that's won the FA Cup before. Eddie Nketiah as a substitute when the Gunners were last victorious in the Wembley Showpiece event 3 seasons ago. And as Danny mentioned, he's been in really good form since Gabriel Jesus picked up this injury. Nketiah has been able to take up the cudgels. He's scored in 3 of his last 4 appearances. Score 0-0 here at the Kassam Stadium between Oxford and Arsenal. And welcome to the listeners in the USA and Canada as well, joining us on our partner station, Sirius XM FC. A very good afternoon to you across North America. Here's El Neni. To his left for Gabriel, back for Mohamed El Neni again. And El Neni's midway between the edge of the penalty area and the edge of the centre circle as he lays it off for Tomiyasu. The reverse ball for firstly from Saka, then another from him to Nketiah, but that was overhit. McGinty will come out and pick it up, and we're 20% of the way through the game. Carl Robinson's going to be pretty happy with the foundation that Oxford have laid down. 0-0 and chanceless so far.
He'll be really pleased. Nearly 20 minutes in against this Arsenal team, especially with the front line they've got. It's their first choice front line from their first 11, if you like. He wouldn't have expected to get 20 minutes in and not really conceded a decent chance, so credit to them.
You're listening to FA Cup Game Night on Talksport. After us, Jason Cundy and Dean Saunders open the sports bar as they review the weekend's action, and a lot to go at there. Also tomorrow morning, Laura and Ali back on Talksport Breakfast, which is live from 6 a.m. on 1089 or 1053 a.m. DAB, via the Talksport app and Talksport Edge. The boos of derision from the Oxford fans, indicating that it's an Arsenal free kick.
Yeah, Maguire doing it. He just tugged him back a little bit. I think Lokonga got past him, and then there was not much in it. Could have gone either way, really.
Big night for Maguire.
Yeah.
2 appearances as an 18-year-old for Arsenal in Europe. Then moved to Barcelona, played for Barcelona's first team, and now a few years later finding himself at Oxford. I know Adrian and you were talking about it before the game, and Carl Robinson has said that he's a player that doesn't necessarily like the trappings of football and elite football, but right at home here, he's hardly missed a game this season and has been a brilliant acquisition. But when you're up against your old club, particularly for the first time, it's inevitable that it's a special occasion. The adrenaline will be coursing through your veins. Anderson, that Dutch right-back defender for Oxford's done really well. Turned one way, then the other. Clearly very comfortable in possession. He's managed to get back, having lost possession upfield. And with the aid of Brannigan, Oxford have it back again, and he's worked it down the right-hand touchline into the feet of Murphy. He's back to the direction of play. He's given a little shove to the ground. Referee Coop plays a good advantage. A few afters off the ball there involving Brannigan and Tierney. Play goes on.
And good Brannigan. Started the game really nicely. Got his foot in a couple of times, but his passing's been good, sharp. Really impressed so far with him.
Yeah, he's another who's been a fantastic acquisition. More than 200 games for Oxford behind him now. Bowden on the left-hand touchline, trying to run at Tomiyasu. He just dragged it down the touchline to try and get a yard past the Japanese to get the cross in, but he put it out of play. A little bit of finger wagging going on from Tomiyasu. I don't know what's upset him, but it's going to be a throw which will be taken on the Oxford left-hand side. He's complaining about the decision. He feel that Bowden got the last touch. Brown's going to take the throw. He's waited, standing by the touchline. The ball was motionless about 4 yards infield, and he waited for Murphy to run 10 yards towards him to pick up the ball for Brown to take the throw, which he deposited swiftly at the feet of Murphy. Murphy then loses possession. Saka back in defensive duties, did well, and Tomiyasu clears towards halfway. But McGuane's on it again for Oxford and now finds Brown. And Brown playing it forward. And then he stretches out and intercepts the ball intended for Bowden. Lokonga didn't read what was happening in the midfield quickly enough, and Brannigan won it back. Now McGuane emerging from the centre circle with possession. Brannigan, McGuane and Bate. Very effective 3-ball in that midfield for Oxford. And holding their own at the moment against the more illustrious opposition with absolutely no disrespect intended. Brannigan, who did play in Europe and the Premier League in his Liverpool days, flights it forward here. Tomiyasu knocking it down the touchline. Awkward, lively bounce on this erratic playing surface did for Saka.
No.
And Danny's wrath is aimed at the referee for a free kick going Tomiyasu's way. Given a shove by Brown. It didn't appear to be too much in it.
Bizarre decision. Good clean header, jumped up. Tomiyasu pretends he's pole that, gets up a millisecond later, and the referee decides to give a free kick.
0-0 the score, midway through the first half. Winners away to Manchester City in round 4, and nothing between the two sides at the moment, despite the 58 places between them in the footballing pyramid. We already know that at least 9 Premier League sides are going to be knocked out in round 3. 4 of them to lower division opposition: Villa, Forest, Bournemouth and Newcastle. 4 more: Palace, Everton, Brentford and Chelsea eliminated in all Premier League ties. Either Liverpool or Wolves going to go as well. Leeds have got an awkward replay. Talking of awkward holding, almost turning the wrong way into the Oxford press inside his own penalty area, but he found Tomiyasu, and Saka was the outball for him, and Arsenal try and get it going quickly, but Fabio Vieira's touch was poor. Seized upon by Bate in the midfield. He's found Taylor on the edge of the area. McGuane laying it back. Brannigan with a first-time effort, which hit Gabriel, and Tomiyasu's going to be able to get it away. Brown.
Brilliant pressing from Oxford.
And it was led by Brown. Saka with the ball at his feet, laid back for El Neni. Now Arsenal whack it away. Don't try and play through the press that time.
Vieira, it was not aware of the tenacity and speed of this Oxford side. He'll soon become aware if he keeps dwelling on the ball like that.
Now Nene finding Lokonga, and Tomiyasu has it now. 24 gone, 0-0. Saka has turned far too good for Brown, and he's laid it off. Brown fouled and almost paying to get back in the ground after that. Arsenal working it down the right-hand side for Vieira. Vieira comes back some 10-15 yards and plays it in towards El Neni. Worked for by El Neni into the feet of Lokonga to Gabriel, and back for El Neni again. And the men in white drive it forward. It was a good run from Fabio Vieira. El Neni couldn't quite pick him out. Not enough height on the through ball, but the idea was right. Brown in there very strongly, wins it from Saka, who stays down. Oxford play on with Bowden finding Brown. Brannigan down towards McGuane, and he'll stop play and put it out of play so that Saka can receive treatment, and the home fans not happy.
To be fair, I think Saka's genuinely been caught there. He's not the type to stay down if he hasn't been caught, but the last 2 or 3 occasions Saka's got the ball and been pressed really hard. His strength is phenomenal to watch. He's got such stable, the stability in his torso and his leg. He's so strong when they try and hit him. And then, of course, he has that wonderful ability to move with the ball and change direction. Just a pleasure to watch.
Well, Mikel Arteta, while Saka is down being attended to, is just called the other 10 Arsenal players over. What's the gist of what he's saying? What does he need to see his side improve?
I think he'll probably use the tempo a bit, pass it a bit quicker. Maybe a little tactical thing. He's told one or two of them, depending on what he's seeing. But he'll be wanting them to move the ball a bit more quickly and not get caught in their own half, because it's normally the key when you go away from home in the Cups and you're a team that likes to play and the pitch ain't great and the conditions aren't great. One or two of you aren't quite at it and you lose the ball and all of a sudden put yourself under the pressure. So that's probably what he's just be careful when you receive the ball, play a bit quicker, be aware. Especially Vieira. I mean, he's never done it on a Monday night in Oxford, has he?
And a few Arsenal fans here tonight would say he still hasn't. 26 gone, Oxford 0, Arsenal 0.
There's time.
There is plenty of time for him, because these are circumstances and the kind of tie that he's certainly not experienced in England before. Martinelli over on that left flank, across the edge of the penalty area for Saka, who's absolutely fine after the foul on him a few moments ago. Saka's got it again, trying to drive it in. Brown's defended him really well so far, bar that one moment where Saka beat him. Brown gets it away here, headed back by Holding, past Tomiyasu, brought under control by Bodin, but he didn't have it under control for long. Saka tries to bring it past Bodin, and Brown eventually is going to be able to clear. Holding, heading it through the midfield, straight to Matty Taylor, the Oxford striker, born in the city in his second spell with the club. McGuane, back for Brannigan. Brannigan to Long. Long into the feet of Bate, who was awarded the Oxford Player of the Month award for December, an almost unanimous verdict, I understand. And Bate has it again. Diminutive of stature, big of heart, and it's a good ball from him out towards the left-hand touchline for the bearded Taylor. And Tomiyasu's gone down holding his face after the two scuffle for the ball, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Arsenal in their right back position. 27 gone, 0-0.
Give it 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's going to be okay. Tomiyasu.
Big tough defender. He's been down twice from a little flick in the face.
Well, he's motioning to the fourth official that he felt that he was elbowed there. It wasn't how I saw it, I must admit.
He got caught, but I don't understand sometimes why players go down so quickly. And well, I do understand it, because they want to get other players stitched up. I don't like it.
Well, it is a cold night, as we've been saying. El Neni has just dispensed with the gloves, throwing them over the touchline, right in front of the TV pitchside cameraman. Play restarts with the Arsenal free kick. It's laid through the midfield by Lokonga, back to Gabriel to Tierney, and back again, now in towards Turner. No pressure on him from Taylor this time. Holding across, but safely across his own penalty area for Gabriel working into the feet of Lokonga, who has come 10 yards to meet it, and then it's whipped forward up the left-hand touchline by Gabriel, but Oxford win it back easily.
It was actually Nketiah who's dropping really deep. Sometimes he needs to stay up high, and I know he wants to get involved and his touch is good, but he shouldn't be running past the midfielders there to try and get involved. Keep your position up there, use your speed to get in behind and your touch to cause problems in the final third.
Those are the thoughts of former England international Danny Murphy here on Talksport and across North America on Sirius XM-FC. You're listening to Oxford against Arsenal. It's in the FA Cup and it's live with Carling. We're made by our mates, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Well, it's been an extraordinary FA Cup weekend, and the cup football continues tomorrow. We've got two Carabao Cup quarterfinals for you. Here on TalkSport, Manchester United, Charlton. Over on TalkSport 2, it's Newcastle, Leicester. And then Wednesday, the other two. Here on TalkSport, Southampton, Man City. And over on TalkSport 2, with a 7:45 kickoff, not an 8 like the others, it is Forest against Wolves. So all four Carabao Cup quarterfinals coming your way on the TalkSport network over the next 48 hours. This last FA Cup third round tie, 0-0. We've got the best of the replays next week, week Tuesday, week Wednesday for you. And also a Premier League game a week Wednesday as Manchester United go to Palace. A date for your diary lying ahead. Arsenal in possession here. El Neni 10 yards outside the penalty area. That's a decent ball forward. He's got 3 or 4 to try and be able to hit. Tierney, chance to wrap his left foot around it, fires it in, long, back pedals and heads it away. Back from Tierney again towards the edge of the penalty area. Little shove on Fabio Vieira, but he was able to use the ball intelligently, find a man behind him. It was Gabriel, now Gabriel to El Neni. El Neni down towards Bukayo Saka on the Arsenal right-hand side. Tomiyasu showing for the ball, clipping it into the feet of Nketiah. And he was offside. Cleared anyway by Moore, but the flag is up. Free kick to Oxford. And they're half an hour in now, still 0-0.
Another box ticked. Half an hour is a really good indicator of where you're at in a game, and they're certainly in this one. They've struggled to cause any problems to this Arsenal defence, really, but they've looked pretty tight themselves, defended some crosses well, looked full of energy.
But it is a game where chances haven't even been at a premium. They've been non-existent so far, and that is to Oxford's huge credit. Holding the Premier League leaders. Does feel like one of those nights where it might not take an awful lot. It could just be one moment of inspiration. Oxford worked it forward there long and quickly for Matty Taylor, who felt as though he should have had a corner, but a goal kick has been given.
Thought the keeper should have been there, really. Decided to stay on his line, and it was there for him to come if his starting position was better. Not sure what the referee saw there, actually. It looked like a corner to me.
Probably one at each end that has evened itself out now. You know, both sides having a corner not given that probably was deserved. Here's Lokonga. And he's just playing the way that he's facing. Now able to turn as he gets a return ball from Gabriel, and it will find Holding. Holding down to Taki Tomiyasu on the right-hand side. Arsenal with a decent record of avoiding cup shocks, barring last season, of course, against Forest a year ago tonight. They've progressed in their last 13 ties against sides from outside the top 2 divisions. And that's since an infamous defeat at Wrexham that you might remember back in 1992, and they conceded twice in the last 8 minutes. The goals from the great Mickey Thomas and Steve Watkin. A little bit further back than that, you might, as you'll remember, an Arsenal defeat at York in the mid-80s to a late goal from Keith Houchin from the penalty spot. But there haven't been too many banana skins against lower division opposition for Arsenal over the years. 0-0 the score here tonight. Replay in 10 days' time, well, 9 days' time if this one ends all square. Bowden climbing and trying to get on the end of a long ball played for by McGinty. Taylor was in an offside position as he tried to flick it back. It was a close call, but a correct one from the assistant referee Tim Wood, and an Arsenal free kick on the edge of their own box. 0-0, and still no chances to speak of at all, Danny Murphy.
No, they've got to try and get the ball, Arsenal, a bit more to Saka. Being pushed out to that left will give Saka one-on-one a bit more with Brown, see if he can use his pace to isolate him.
Arsenal able to bring the ball forward here with Tierney. He's covered an awful lot of ground. He's in a central position as he lays it off for Saka. Back in from Tomiyasu, but easily headed away by Bate. 15 outside the penalty area. Holding can drive it way out towards the Arsenal left for Martinelli, who survives an optimistic handball call. Lays it inside the area, and Lokonga with the effort, which is deflected away. Arsenal immediately surround the referee, say that it hit a hand and it should be a penalty. No. But David Cooch given a corner.
It's a no. There's no VAR check. He's already given the corner. So we know.
Now Arsenal, you'll remember, have been charged with failing to control their players in the game against Newcastle in the last league game, and 4 players in the face of the referee is out with the laws of the game. David Coote waving them away.
It was good play from Arsenal. To be honest, whether it was or it wasn't doesn't really matter. The fact is, once it's been given as a corner, you know there's no VAR, you might as well get on with it.
Arsenal will take the corner. It's their 3rd of the game, and it's going to be a left-footed away swinger. Gabriel stands by the penalty spot. He's trying to escape the shackles of his marker as it's fired in. Good header away came from Taylor for Oxford. Saka laying it back Tierney then fires it over the top, back out towards Martinelli. It's half cleared and picked up again on the midfield by Lokonga, driven in by him towards the edge of the penalty area. Holding still forward has done well to make something of it. Another ball whipped in from the Arsenal right by Saka. Oxford repel it, but they've got more defending to do because it's gone out of play for a throw that Tomiyasu is going to take about 12 yards on the corner flag.
Pressure growing a little bit, isn't it? Starting to get a bit more joy.
65-35 the possession for Arsenal. They still haven't had a single attempt either on or off target. Oxford have had two relatively lacklustre ones, and they haven't had an effort on target either. 0-0 here at the Kassam Stadium. Arsenal in their all-white, kicking from left to right and unable to make anything of that. Tomiyasu chasing after a flick from Martinelli, but McGinty can pounce on the ball and just calm things down again and allow those in yellow and blue to make their ways upfield.
Well, the midfield three for Oxford have been great in helping the back four out in terms of getting close to them. Distances nice and small, any little knockdowns, doubling up in the wide areas has been good as well from Bowden and Murphy. Exactly what you need to try and keep such quality at bay.
Oh, Bowden and Murphy have done really well to link up here. Murphy's in the middle, ball chipped inside the penalty area is half cleared. Out only as far as Bate. Bate to McGuane. McGuane down towards Bowden again. Taylor in support on the Oxford left, and he takes a touch, works it in the feet of Bate. This is all around the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. McGuane, that little bit deeper, picking it up. Thought about going back to his centre half, instead played it to the left back Brown. He's forced to go deep for Moore. Moore back for Anderson, and Arsenal are going to be able to restrict Oxford. Anderson has to make sure he doesn't get caught in possession, and he just about survived it inside the centre circle, won it back and laid it back for long. He does love to run with the ball at his feet, but there's always the inherent threat that if he loses possession, it's turned over. There's a massive gap in behind him.
I like his bravery though. Wants the ball, he wants to make things happen.
Murphy's got to be at his most aware on the right hand side in front of him that when Anderson does go, Murphy is aware of that and tracks back and tries to thwart the counter. Arsenal will bring it forward now down the left hand side. Tierney playing it back out towards Martinelli. Martinelli on the left hand side of the penalty area, rolling his studs over the top of the ball. Tierney whacks the cross in. It's far too high and hard and sails straight out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by McGinty. It's 0-0 between Oxford and Arsenal on Talksport. Here's Danny Murphy.
It was a shame actually. A minute or two before, Oxford had a real opportunity for a second. You felt like they had an extra man there. Played the ball a little bit wide. It didn't quite get Murphy on the cross when they had that 2v1, but promising for them. So it's going to come through those midfield boys, isn't it? The creativity, the technicians in there, they all like to get on the ball and try and make things happen. That's where they're going to have that find. If they do have that moment tonight, it's going to start from one of those three.
Well, looking at this performance so far, you would ask the question why Oxford find themselves just below halfway in League One. 11 points off the playoffs. They're only 7 points above the relegation zone. But very neat and tidy and easy on the eye. Maybe just not quite the potency that they need.
It's that final third, isn't it, for so many teams who you watch, can play good football, get in good areas, don't quite have that cutting edge, if you like.
Taylor knocking it forward here, and Murphy was offside. A free kick that Arsenal take right on the edge of their own penalty area. A big night for Josh Murphy as well. He has scored in the third round a couple of times in the past for both Milton Keynes Dons and also for Cardiff. He's faced Arsenal once before. Not many in this Oxford side have. And the only time he's ever played against the Gunners he scored, that was in a League Cup tie for Norwich some 5 seasons ago. His brother played against them last week for Newcastle in the Premier League, and he's playing against them tonight in the FA Cup here. And his Oxford side have given a good account of themselves at the moment. 0-0 with 5.5 to go to half-time. Carl Robinson just outside the technical area, appealing that it should be an Oxford throw. The officials agree. No complaint from Tomiyasu, who picks himself up and then just has a little chunter at the referee as he gets back in position. And Fabio Vieira not happy either. But it is going to be a throw that will be taken by Brown on the Oxford left. 5 to go to the break. Brown just drying the ball. Now pointing forward down the touchline. He's got a good long throw on him, but El Neni came across and read it. Boot raised a little bit high, and he was quick to apologise. No complaints from Bowden, nor from the referee. It wasn't deemed to be a high kick or dangerous play. And Oxford will do it all again with another throw. It's a question of 2nd and 7. They've just nicked a couple of yards from the previous one. Thrown down the line again by Brown. And Tomiyasu heads that one away. And it's a 3rd and goal, because they've got another throw. This one level with the edge of the penalty area. So they're making steady progress. And it's going to be Kieran Brown who will take it again, the former Cardiff man. Experience of playing top-flight football in Scotland with Livingston. And the Northern Ireland international has got 6 lurking with intent in or around the edge of the penalty area for this long throw. All the flick-ons. In it comes, headed away by firstly Lokonga, then by Tierney, brought down by Bate. Bate back towards Anderson. Anderson's quick. He's going to have to be to recover here against Martinelli, who's made 30 yards upfield. And then Anderson's done really well. The ball in the area by the time he made a challenge. So there was no margin for error, but he slid in, flicked it away with his right foot, then raised a hand of apology to his teammates for losing possession in the first place, but it was an excellent recovery.
It was a good race, wasn't it? Martinelli with the ball, Anderson without, waited his time, bided his time, and then last-ditch tackle, time to perfection. But yeah, it was a good recovery, really good.
But it has given Arsenal the opportunity to launch a long throw inside the penalty area. Thrown in towards the edge of the 6, Holding going up for it, didn't get the flick that he wanted, it was too heavy a contact. Arsenal recycle it back out towards Tierney, who controls it over on the touchline. Murphy comes back and flicks it away from him, but it is another Arsenal throw. 10 or 12 yards from that corner flag, which is billowing over on the far side, the yellow Oxford corner flag with the blue club crest in the middle of it. Long throw inside the penalty area comes from Tierney, flicked on near post and then flicked over the bar. And in a game of very little goalmouth opportunity, that goes down as a half chance. Near post flick, and 2 or 3 Arsenal players stretching, and it's eased over the bar from close range.
Yeah, it was a half a chance, wasn't it? Coming in quick though. It's been surprising how little they've created. It just makes you realise and appreciate Odegaard this game. That position Vieira's playing in, it's so difficult, you know, to get good touches on the ball, to make space, to make chances. Odegaard's been making it look easy now since the beginning of the season.
He's one of the Arsenal players given the night off tonight. He's not on the bench, so can't be called upon. But what a season he's having. 4 goals in his last 6 Premier League games, a stack of assists as well for the Arsenal captain. The Arsenal bench tonight does include Smith Rowe, along with White and Partey. Oh, Odegaard is on the bench, I beg your pardon. Sorry, White, Partey, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Marquinhos and Xhaka, Zinchenko, Butler, Oyadeji, and Karl-Heinz, the substitute goalkeeper. Good play again by Anderson over on the Oxford right. Murphy tries to drive it in, it's hit Lokonga, and bounces on the touchline out of play for an Oxford throw. It's got a little bit scrappy the last 4 or 5 minutes. They coming up to half-time. They won't mind at all.
No, they won't mind.
They?
If they can get to half-time 0-0, they'll be ecstatic. Conducted themselves very well. Apart from that little half a chance a second ago from Nketiah, wasn't it? Which only was half a chance, really. They've limited Arsenal, which many teams haven't done this season. Granted, it's not Arsenal's first team, but there's a lot of firepower out there. Yeah, can be proud of themselves.
Sorry, they're more than 200 international caps as well amongst the 11. It's not a scratch Arsenal side. Brown with a long throw inside the penalty area. It's a good defensive header away before Moore could get anything on it at the near post. Bate has done really well, making a recovery run to flick it away from Nketiah, and has won the free kick. That's back near a halfway, but it stops the Oxford back line having to progress back inside their own half with only seconds of this first period remaining. It's not going to be too much time to be added on, a couple of minutes maybe. There is an Oxford free kick that will be taken 10 yards inside Arsenal territory.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure, Mikel Arteta will not want a replay. With the amount of other stuff they've got going on this season and different priorities, he's going to want to get this game done. I think he'll be giving them a bit of a rocket half-time.
In comes the free kick. Taylor going up for it. It's easily headed away again. Well, the offside flag is up. The Arsenal's next 2 games, Gunners fans will know all too well. Spurs away, Manchester United at home. You don't need an FA Cup replay between the pair of them.
No, you certainly do not. And I think we'll see early in the second half, if the tempo doesn't get a bit more and the chances start coming, we'll start seeing those changes.
Just the 1 minute to be added on at the end of this first half. It's 0-0. Holding playing it forward here for Arsenal. Brown knocked it away from Saka. Holding gets it back. Saka took immediate evasive action as the ball was thrashed by the centre half out towards the left wing. It was a decent pass as well. Played inside the penalty area first time towards Nketiah. But easily knocked away by McGuane, who is back in defensive duty. And then Anywhere will do this late in the half. Murphy playing it for Taylor's offside. Flag came up. Assistant referee really well placed. It was a close call.
It did look tight, didn't it? Brilliant ball as well.
You know, it hit forward with intent. It wasn't just an aimless ball forward from the back. And the half-time whistle goes as Oxford again try and put the pressure on Turner. And it's a standing ovation from the Oxford United supporters. And well, it might be, because on a day where there's been very little in the way of goal-scoring opportunity at either end, Arsenal have been completely restricted to 2 inconsequential half chances. And there might be 58 places between these two. The strength of the first 45 minutes, you wouldn't know. Oxford really game, and a good game plan as well. Half-time at the Kassam. Oxford 0, Arsenal 0.
Wow, it's nicely poised, isn't it? Oxford holding their own. What can they do second half? We'll reflect on that first 45 minutes with Danny Murphy very shortly. But if you've enjoyed the Cup football this weekend, more to come this week. Tomorrow night, I'll be at Old Trafford for Manchester United against Charlton. That's Premier League against League One as well. Carabao Cup quarter-final. We've got commentary of that on Talksport. On Talksport 2 at the same time, it's Newcastle against Leicester, another quarter-final. Wednesday night, Forest Wolves on Talksport 2. And on Talksport, Southampton against Manchester City. And there's football every night this week. Thursday, a live exclusive Premier League offering Fulham against troubled Chelsea. That's live on Talksport. Hugh Woozencroft will be your host for that. And Hugh's in charge on Friday night for another live exclusive Premier League commentary. Aston Villa taking on Leeds. And then we get round to game day on Talksport. Saturday, it begins at 11 a.m. And what a game on Saturday lunchtime. It's the Manchester Derby at Old Trafford. Join Reshmin Chowdhury from 11 a.m. on Talksport for game day. Let's take a look back at the first half with Carling.
FA Cup half-time highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Well, Danny Murphy, I've quite enjoyed that. I've been floating around social media. Some people not really enjoying the first half. I've enjoyed it. I think it's been a good battle between the two sides. And as Carl Robinson said before the game, watch out for the midfield three of Oxford, and I think they've been a joy to watch.
Well, I think different people like watching different things. You know, a lot of people enjoy creativity and goals and end-to-end stuff. But if you go toe-to-toe with this Arsenal side and start taking too many risks, you'll be done by half-time. To be defensively that solid and still have a little bit of a counter-attack and a little bit of a break now and again is credit to this Oxford side. The midfield lads dropping in, keeping the spaces and the distances really tight between that narrow back four. I mean, I haven't seen ours. I know it's not their first 11, but they've got their front three who are lethal. And they kept them quiet and deserve great credit. Both fullbacks have been terrific. And actually, as a team, they've looked compact, well organised, well drilled. And sometimes in football, being able to contain a brilliant attacking side or attacking formation is actually as good to watch as an end-to-end cup tie.
Absolutely fascinating battle, I think, and I do wonder where it's going to come for Arsenal, because even Carl Robinson was saying Anderson, the right back, is more attacking, he's not really a defender, but they haven't really had much joy against him. He's so quick, isn't he? But he made a great tackle in the box, had to get it right, as Jim said in commentary, and he did. There were the handball shouts. I've seen it back, and it's from about half a yard. It's whatever the law says, I don't really care. It's just would have been such a harsh decision. Yeah. But what I want to talk about on that incident, all the Arsenal players around the referee, they get that from the manager. It's got to stop.
Well, I think if you feel hard done by it in a decision, it's fine to have a quick, ref, handball, you appeal naturally, it's what you do. And then, but to start running over and getting in his face and make him uncomfortable, which I could see him think he should have booked him.
And there were 5 or 6 of them, weren't there?
Yeah, but he should have nipped it in the bud. I know it shouldn't be the referees, shouldn't have to deal with 4 and 5 players running at them, but If he just nipped the first one in the bud with a yellow, the others wouldn't have bothered. You can control your own situation to a degree. I don't think he's the best, to be honest, the ref, but he didn't deserve that. Overall, I think Arsenal have been a bit flat. I don't think they've looked like they've had a great control in the game, probably because Odegaard's missing. He's the one who turns possession into attacks and plays the through balls and cuts people open. Vieira, although we know he's a talent, he's looked a bit lightweight at times. It's been easy to take the ball off, been hammered a couple of times and he's not liked it. So I think he'll have a rocket from Arteta at half-time. I think, to be honest, I think the manager will be going there, knowing the standards Arteta set, and be having real words.
I would say so as well. Bukayo Saka I absolutely love as a player. I think we all do. However, I saw him last week against Dan Burn. He gave him 2 minutes of hell. Dan Burn adjusted his game and everything was fine, and Bukayo Saka wasn't in it. Tonight, I'm expecting Bukayo Saka. Yeah, there's a few others as well, but I'm looking at Bukayo Saka. I'm expecting him to really grab hold of this game, run the game, and win it for Arsenal. I don't really see it. I still love him as a player, but that's what's more to come. He's still young, isn't he? There's more to come from him.
Well, I think the problem is sometimes when you've got, it doesn't matter how much talent you've got, when you play wide, you are reliant on the ball, someone getting you the ball. You need the ball as often as possible. And I was saying in the commentary in the first half, you're not giving him the ball enough. Now, he should help himself at times, by, especially in a game like this, staying high and wide. He's too honest at times, getting back in here, defending, tracking back and all that. I think sometimes he could just stay out wide and high, ready for the counter and do himself a favour. But let's give some credit. Sorry, I'm mistaken. Get my little notes here. Brown at left back. Yeah. He's been terrific. But yeah, I agree with you. I have expected a bit more from him. But I think you'll see him get a lot more of the ball when Odegaard comes on.
Any remote chance Oxford have in the second half they've got to take, haven't they?
Yes.
They can win this, can't they?
I think if they score first, they could hang on and maybe get a draw. It would be the biggest shock of the weekend if they were.
You can't see Arsenal not scoring, is what you're saying?
No, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will score.
Okay, so to win it, Oxford have got to score too.
I think if it stays at 0-0 or they get the first one for 20 minutes, they might have a bit of luck. But I can't see Arsenal being as bad in the second half as in the first half. I think they'll make chances. I think they'll make subs, and I think they'll score. They're going to get tired, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've put such a shift in already, this Oxford side.
Yeah, it's that midfield three has worked so hard and been good on the ball as well, but it is goalless and nicely poised at half-time at the Kassam live on Talksport. Oxford 0, Arsenal 0 on Talksport. That was all thanks to Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. FA Cup live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Welcome to the Rosique Hotel.
Hello. We're a little early, but thought we might take a dip in the pool before we check in.
Of course. Sorry, Mrs. Cook, but it looks like your stay isn't for another 5 months.
Yes, that's right.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy a freshly prepared cheeseburger. Just £1.19. Part of the McDonald's Saver menu. From 11 a.m, price and participation may vary.
We know sport is great on TalkSport, but when you want great music to soundtrack your day, on holiday, listen to Virgin Radio.
Virgin Radio.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Sunshine for your eyes.
On DAB Digital Radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, and on virginradio.co.uk.
Under pressure.
Virgin Radio.
Search Talk Talk Full Fibre for deals that make sense. Talk Talk. CPI plus 3.7% annual increase from April 2023, subject to legal availability. Average saving on full fibre 150 versus major competitors publicly available out of contract. Standard fibre 65 equivalent only on 21st October.
Join us as England men embark on a new journey with Steve Borthwick at the 2023 Guinness Six Nations. Be one of the first to see his squad live in action at Twickenham Stadium when Italy visit on Sunday the 12th of February. With limited availability remaining, make sure you don't miss out. For more information and to buy your tickets, head to englandrugby.com/tickets now.
Welcome to the Rosique Hotel.
Hello. We're a little early, but thought we might take a dip in the pool before we check in.
Of course. Sorry, Mrs. Cook, but it looks like your stay isn't for another 5 months.
Yes, that's right.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy a freshly prepared cheeseburger. Just £1.19. Part of the McDonald's Saver menu. From 11 a.m, price and participation may vary.
Make sure you kick off every Sunday morning with the weekend sports breakfast on Talksport with The Sun.
Can you believe it?
Join Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino for all the latest news, essential previews, expert insight, exclusive interviews, and everything you need to make sure you're ahead of the game.
Smashes it into the back of the net.
The Weekend Sports Breakfast this Sunday morning from 6 on Talksport with The Sun. For breaking news, football gossip, live blogs and more, head to thesun.co.uk/football today.
Start the year with a bit of extra cash in your pocket. At Screwfix, we're cutting prices to help you save this winter. And we've locked trade essentials at 2022 prices. Now that's unbeatable value. So get your job done for less. Shop now on the app, at screwfix.com or in store. Screwfix, the choice of champions.
When you need medical help fast, use NHS 111 online to go from home to an urgent treatment centre.
Mr. Williams, please come through.
Or a pharmacy.
Hello, the pharmacist will see you now.
Or if needed, stay where you are and get a call from a nurse, doctor or paramedic. Get assessed and directed to the right place for you in as little as 90 seconds. Use NHS 111 online.
At Kia, we believe to find inspiration, you have to move. Our Kia Inspire event features exclusive offers on selected models like the Kia Exceed, Sportage, Stonic and Picanto. Get your first 2 services free, 7.9% APR representative and up to £2,500 PCP deposit contribution. Plus these models will be available sooner than you think. Search Kia Inspire event. Kia. Movement that inspires. T's and C's apply. Petrol models only. Kia Finance ends 28th of February.
FA Cup Live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
The biggest and best football on the radio.
On the app, on DAB, online, and on your smart speaker.
And they've done it!
FA Cup Game Day Kickoff.
On Talksport.
You're listening to the FA Cup Live on Talksport with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Waiting for the players to come out second half. They're just adjusting the pitch. Forks going into the pitch here at the Kassam Stadium. We have not seen any goals as yet. Oxford 0, Arsenal 0. Second half to come. Imagine Oxford score early in the second half. What a game we've got in store. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Nicola McGeady from Ladbrokes, how you doing?
I'm good. Not one for the neutrals so far, but as you said, if an early goal in the second half happens, especially from Oxford, we would have a serious, exciting match in our hands. And fair play to Oxford United. You know, they've made it hard for Arsenal, but neither team looked like scoring. So, you know, the match betting hasn't changed too much. We still very much expect Arsenal to get the job done in the second half at 4-9. Oxford, they're 12-1, with the draw attracting interest now at 12-5. It is 7-2 that there's no score in the match, but 1-0 Arsenal is now favoured at 23-10, while Nketiah, he's the man punters will find the net first. He was popular before the kick-off and remains popular at 7-2. Saka, he's 11-4 to score any time alongside Martinelli.
Well, Nicola, thank you very much. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Are you in? Let's go. Play at ladbrokes.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Well, it's been a day of retirements. Just to recap that big news from earlier, Gareth Bale has retired from football, club football and international football at the age of 33. And there's another one down as well. Hugo Lloris, the Spurs and France keeper, a World Cup winner, has announced his retirement from playing international football as well. 36 years old, 2018 World Cup winner, 2022 World Cup finalist, beaten on penalties And time to hand over, and I think maybe it might be time for the Leeds keeper Meslier to find his way into the senior squad. He's the number 1 at under 21 level for France. Maybe it might be time for him to be trusted as France's number 1. We shall see. Arsenal make their way out for the second half. Danny Murphy, early goal for Oxford, second half, and we've got a beautiful tie. I'm actually enjoying it. I think the fact that Oxford have kept Arsenal at bay and a decent Arsenal side at bay, I think is credit to them and makes this a fascinating tie.
Oh, if there was a goal, this place would be it would be phenomenal, and it would make a hell of a second half, because Arsenal, of course, would throw on some of the big guns and go hell for leather. We'll have to wait and see. I do expect better from Arsenal this second half. I think they'll move the ball quicker. I think he will give them a little rocket, because although they haven't been in trouble defensively, they've not really we haven't seen them play with that speed in attack, the skill and creativity that they've played with all season. We've enjoyed watching from that front three. And as I said earlier, I think the main reason for that is probably Odegaard not being on the pitch. He's the one for me that starts off all those attacks, and he's the one that can split open a defence. And although Vieira's a super talent, he's just looked a little bit off it, partly because he hasn't had that many minutes, and we talked about that earlier, didn't we, in terms of getting your rhythm. But yeah, I don't think it'll be long before we see Odegaard if they don't score in the first 10 or 15 minutes of this second half.
Still waiting for Oxford to come out, and you're right, if there's an early goal for the home side in the second half, all three sides of this ground will erupt, and the fans on top of a van behind the goal to our left would erupt, as well as a group of, how many would you say there, 7 or 8 fans standing on top of a van behind the goal. How good is that?
Improvisation, I always like to see that. Not doing anything wrong, are they?
They haven't paid to get in, mate.
Yeah, but they're standing on top of a van.
Watching the game
illegal,
for free, it's outrageous.
Hey, I tell you what, if you didn't have a ticket, you'd be on the... Well, I don't know about you, don't have the van and take you, but yeah.
When I came to watch football here as a fan, I paid to get in.
Did you?
Yeah, go and get the money off them now.
They might be Arsenal fans, couldn't get a ticket. You were here with Peterborough, they were giving the tickets away.
Oh, he's gone there. He's gone there. We'll sort this out off air later. Oxford are back out. We've got a second half to bring you, and it could be something special. Early goal for the home side. Let's see what happens, or have Arsenal got their act together. Oxford 0, Arsenal 0. The final FA Cup third round tie, live on Talksport. Here's Danny Murphy and Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, Wade, in the gap where the stand should be, on the left-hand side, there is a low loader, and there's some fans standing on top of that in the car park that has got a well-known Italian restaurant and a cinema just on the far side of it, and about 200 cars between us and them, and quite a few supporters who haven't been able to get a ticket for this sold-out FA Cup tie tonight are taking advantage of that. We're back underway for the second half. Last time I was here was in lockdown, and Oxford playing Portsmouth in the playoffs, and some Portsmouth fans had hired a similar contraption and just drove it into what was a vacant car park then, and had taken a similar vantage point, and yes, you could hear that bell. Here come Oxford on their way, having to just drop off here towards the edge of the penalty area, with Arsenal in possession on the left hand side, with Martinelli playing it back for Tierney. Tierney down the line towards Lokonga, who's done well to get the better of Anderson. Anderson fighting Martinelli. Arsenal in all white, and they've got a corner right at the beginning of this second half, and Murphy came back, slid in. Arsenal lining up with Turner in goal, Tommy Asu holding Gabriel and Tierney, Elneny and Lokonga, Saka, Vieira, Martinelli and Nketiah. Oxford, McGinty in goal, Anderson, Moore, Long and Brown, Bate, McGuane and Brannigan, Murphy, Taylor and Bodin. Now it's going to be a corner which will be taken on the Arsenal left. It's their fourth of the game. The wind not quite prevalent at the beginning of this second half. Signal given by Fabio Vieira, who will look up and see 7 in white in that penalty area, including Martinelli, who tried to get there for the near post flick. It comes back for Vieira again. And Vieira controlling the ball with the studs of his left boot, just rolls them over the top of the ball. Quick exchange of passes with Lokonga. Back for Vieira. Right-footed ball clipped in by him. Headed away on the edge of the D, and then brought under control by Murphy, who did well to withstand Martinelli trying to just kick past him. And it's gone out of play, ultimately, for a throw that will be taken on the Arsenal left. Tierney looking to take it quickly, scampered over, received the ball from somebody in the Arsenal technical area, but there was no quick throw on, so he takes a more conservative avenue back inside his own half for Gabriel. Couple of minutes gone in the second half, still waiting for the first shot on target of the night at 0-0.
Yeah, it's been a better start from Arsenal. Bit more intensity, even the speed they went to take the throw, to go get the ball and actually get players forward. There seems to be a little bit of a reaction. Everybody in the Oxford half from the Arsenal team right now.
No changes as yet, as far as the Gunners are concerned.
Well, we did talk in the first half, didn't we, about the lack of a high press from Arsenal early on in the game, which sometimes we do see, especially when they play at home. They go after teams and try and really get goals early, but they didn't do that to this Oxford side. Whether that was conscious or whether it was just the situation, we don't know, but the intensity needs to be better this half from Arsenal in every aspect, with and without the ball.
Now, that's a tactic that's worked so well for them as well. They have actually scored the first goal, taken a 1-0 lead in 15 of the last 18 games in all competitions, but they might go 1-0 down here. Out comes Turner and waited on the edge of the penalty area. Taylor tried to flick it past him, but without a great degree of conviction. And Turner could just throw his hands on the ball, was very grateful to be able to save. But Oxford turning the Arsenal back line early in this second half.
He got in, didn't he, Taylor? I tell you what it was, Jim, it was a lack of pace. Just a yard off. If he was a yard quicker, he's in. All he has to do is knock it past the keeper, but it just ran away from him. He couldn't get there, he couldn't make up the yards.
Well, it was a glorious opportunity, and he'll feel that he should have been the first Oxford player to score against Arsenal since Billy Hamilton back in 1986. Oxford in possession again, and Taylor has it again, flicking it over his shoulder inside the penalty area. Bowden chasing after it.
Is that the same Billy Hamilton who scored for Spain? For Northern Ireland against Spain? Or was that
Yes.
Jerry?
Jerry Armstrong scored in that game.
Did he score the goal, did he?
Yeah, but Billy played, the Northern Ireland international. And that goal that he scored, the last player to score for Oxford against Arsenal, that was the last time that they beat Arsenal. Back in the 85-86 season, their only ever league victory in this fixture. Arsenal in possession at the moment with Gabriel. Left-footed ball forward, goes over halfway. They're headed down by Long. Lokonga, back for Martinelli. Long sleeve shirt and the gloves on a cold night for Gabriel Martinelli. So well to turn away from Murphy and Anderson. Try to put it on a plate for Nketiah around the penalty spot. Oxford hurriedly clear their lines, and it's gone just past the corner flag and out for a throw, which Tierney will come across the tape. But that was excellent play from Martinelli.
Great bit of skill. I could see what he was going to do. They left him the gap in between the middle of them. I just thought Anderson sat off him long enough for him to do it. He should have went and committed earlier, Anderson, but it was a brilliant bit of skill from Martinelli. He's got such good feet.
Tierney will take the throw right down by the corner flag. Gabriel stands in the near post area, right in front of that post, almost obstructing the view of Oxford goalkeeper McGinty. Tierney arches the back, hurls it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Anderson with a header away, and Taylor can seize upon it. Ends up being brought down. More than happy to be given the free kick for the foul by Lokonga. Free kick that Oxford will take in their right back position. 0-0 then here on Talksport. 6 into the second half. You're listening to Oxford against Arsenal live with Carling. We're made by our mates 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. And our coverage on Talksport tonight also been right across North America. Welcome to our listeners in the USA and Canada joining us on our partner station Sirius XMFC. This free kick will be taken by McGinty. As he looks up the 20 outfield players, not too great a distance between any of them really. Murphy chases after the ball that is played forward as an Arsenal man has gone down on the edge of his own penalty area, and free kick has been given for a foul on Lokonga. So a little bit of a scrappy and fractious start of this second half as well, but as we were talking in the first half, Danny Murphy, that certainly will suit Oxford. Indeed. They'll be more than happy.
Indeed, yeah, they'll be happy. I mean, the ref, to be fair, is not helping the game in that respect. He's blowing for everything, but yeah, it certainly will help Oxford. The I listened to Aid talk to Carl Robinson before, and he said he'll make no apologies for at times slowing the game up, taking their time on set plays and stuff, and rightly so. Everything you can against such quality opposition.
It was the Arsenal fans that were complaining that time about a free kick not being given. Saka had gone down. Oxford whack it upfield. It's half clear. Maguire picking up the seconds. Plays it out towards the left-hand side. A low ball driven in towards Taylor on the edge of the 6-yard box. Didn't quite get there. But again, Oxford applying the pressure from the front. Have done really well. Bowden with a neat turn. Gets towards the byline. Can he get across in? He can, but... came goalkeeper Turner, and the ball had actually just gone over the dead ball line for a goal kick anyway. Which Turner will take away to our right-hand side. But there seems to be belief in this Oxford side.
It was good, really good pressing as well. Good play down the left-hand side, but also when they didn't quite come off, Brannigan was right at it again, wasn't he, to win the ball back on Tommy Asu and try and sustain the attack.
This is an Arsenal side that have scored in every away game they've played on English soil this season. The only exception was... away to PSV in a European game, but they've scored in every game that they've played away from home in England so far this season. They've won 9 of the 12, which is a very impressive record when you consider that they, in the early days under Mikel Arteta, were struggling away from home, but 9 away wins in 12 games in all competitions this season is a really good return in what is looking like a vintage Arsenal season. Tierney chipping it forward, headed away at the back by Elliot Moore. Taylor trying to get involved for Oxford on halfway. Arsenal work it neatly back for Turner. Turner playing it out towards Rob Holding, who's now got more than 150 Arsenal games behind him. He exchanges passes with Tomiyasu. And Holding just takes a step and then drives the ball straight through the middle, trying to get it over Long, the centre half. Arsenal will be able to pick it up. Saka's got it, right-hand side of the penalty area, twisting onto his left foot, and it might just have got past McGinty, creeping in towards the far post. But Bates, not taking any chances, had come back to cover and hammers it away and to safety for a corner.
Well, it's a long ball over the top. I don't think it was actually the player he was looking for, but they got in, and anyway, Saka ended up cutting in, bit of skill. We see him so often look like he's going to go on his right, and he chops in on that left, and great anticipation from Bates to block it just a couple of yards off the line near the back post.
6 in white stand inside the penalty area. Holding and Gabriel, the two centre-halves, trying to make runs from deep. Brannigan and Long trying to stop that happening. Taylor attacks it defensively at the near post and got the touch to put it behind for another corner. Arsenal have already had as many in this second half as they did in the first. 3 in each half. And Saka will take this latest one. Just gets the ball back from a ball boy, controls it very deliberately, spots it down on the corner quadrant over on the far side. Holding again, trying to make the run. Brannigan, who's much shorter than Rob Holding, doing everything he can to stop Holding getting a run towards the ball here. He's got in towards the near post area, plenty of in-swing on it, and McGinty beats it away under duress.
Did well.
Goes out of play for another corner.
He did well, McGinty. There was a bit of wind down there. It's whipped right in on him from Saka. Gets enough, just enough on it to clear his lines.
Because they had Tomiyasu standing right in front of him as well to make it as difficult as possible. But it was a really good delivery from Saka. Will he be able to replicate it this time? Holding again, trying to make a near post run. Tomiyasu in there right in front of the goalkeeper. It's knocked away by Elliot Moore. Got first contact. That was all important from an Oxford perspective. El Neni will pick up the loose ball and go back for Tierney. Still on the Arsenal left, chipped over the top. Martinelli onside, and it comes off bait and goes out of play for another corner. They're racking them up. 5 in this second half already for Arsenal, but it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's better, isn't it? Playing more forward passes, more quickly, more runners in behind, better intensity. Did well again, McGinty, on the last corner, by the way. Nice and brave, coming out, try and get something on it.
So Fabio Vieira gives the signal. A left-footed away swinger from him. Headed back by Gabriel, by Lokonga, I beg your pardon. Was all he could do to keep it alive, really. And he's just sent a header scurrying wide. There's Eddie Nketiah with the last touch. There's going to be a goal kick, which will be taken away to our left-hand side by McGinty. And you talked earlier, Danny, about the fact that there are boxes to tick as they go through. They get through the first 10 minutes, Oxford, it's still 0-0, and then they get to the midway stage of the first half, and half an hour and so on and so forth. And they would have expected more from Arsenal, I think, at the beginning of the second half, on the back potentially of what you were expecting would be quite a stern half-time team talk from Mikel Arteta. But despite that early Arsenal pressure, Oxford still standing firm.
Well, your confidence grows the more you stay in a game, of course, and then you start doing a bit more with the ball. But they would have talked at half-time, the Oxford lads, with the manager about this Arsenal team coming out with a bit more about them, for sure. They'll have known they were going to get a rocket. But they've coped with it reasonably well. Yes, there's been better pressure from Arsenal, a few corners, and that one chance from Saka, but they still look well organised. They're not panicking. It's just whether their fitness levels, their ability to press, desire to press, never mind ability, their desire and their fitness levels allow them to keep playing with the same tenacity and desire. We'll have to wait and see as the game goes on.
Well, they're desperate to get something to try and protect. Will it come from this? A long throw that'll be taken from the Oxford left-hand side by Brown, hurled in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Tomiyasu off-balanced it, well headed away. That took a lively bounce in front of Brown, but he got his head to it and then gets a return ball from Bate. Now Brown flashes it in. Long was up there, but it was cleared from him. Back out towards Bate again on the left-hand side. 10 outside the penalty area. Threaded forward towards Bodin. Bodin tackled cleanly inside the box. Vieira hoiks it high up in the air. Arsenal can't get it out of harm's way yet. And Brown ragdolls and Nketiah. Might have got away with that in the League One game, but not tonight with David Coote. And the free kick has gone Arsenal's way. And in fact, Kieran Brown's going to pick up a yellow card for his recriminations after the challenge as much as anything else. Brown, the first player to have his name taken tonight.
Yeah, just before that, it was a brilliant header from Gabriel. It was a cross whipped in there from the left-hand side. Good numbers in the box, looking really dangerous, Oxford, with that cross. And then Gabriel Rose talked about his confidence and experience with this 11, keeping him in there for that. It's a foul.
And it was committed by Taylor. Just an arm across Gabriel. And a free kick will be taken by Arsenal 20 yards outside the penalty area. The FA Cup disciplinary situation these days is not one that favours the lower division sides because of the number of ties that they have to play to get to this stage. So you may well be aware that you get a ban in this competition for receiving a second yellow card. Now, this is Arsenal's first game of the competition this time around, but Oxford, who've already played two, have got three players tonight who are a yellow card away from a suspension, Taylor being one of them, and he would miss the replay if he's booked tonight and Oxford can hold on.
What a ridiculous rule.
Well, it should be the same for everybody, shouldn't it?
Well, it's just ridiculous because you know that these days yellow cards are dished out like confetti. We're hardly seeing lots of horrendous injuries and bad tackles anymore, are we? So we could be a bit more lenient on the cards. We know a lot of them get dished out for very small, innocuous things. Somebody could miss one of the biggest games of their lives because of a silly yellow card. Should be 3 a minimum, especially when you've got to play in the first round as well.
Well, Arsenal are going to make their first change. Tierney has come off and has gone straight down the tunnel, I think, away to our right-hand side. Zinchenko is on to replace him.
Xhaka for Lokonga, the other one.
Absolutely. Numbers 23 and 34 up on the board. So Xhaka coming on to replace Lokonga. Granit Xhaka, who has also won this FA Cup on a couple of occasions in 2017 and 2020. And Oxford are going to make a change now as well. And it'll be a straight swap. Murphy coming off, and they're going to bring on Yannick Vilchut, who has arrived back in English football. He's been playing out in Bulgaria for CSKA Sofia. And he made his first Oxford start on New Year's Day against Exeter, former Middlesbrough, Wigan and Norwich man. He has scored in the third round of the Cup before. And Vilchut comes on.
Haven't we all?
Do you know what? No, we haven't all. I'm not even scored in the third round of
any cup,
the local county cup in the back garden, to be honest with you. The ball is with Bate for Oxford. Taking it down towards his own corner flag out of necessity. Arsenal win it back. Zinchenko flicking it forward through the midfield, and then Anderson was just a little bit late and a little bit rash, and a free kick has gone Arsenal's way as Martinelli was caught. About 5 yards in, 6 yards in for the left-hand touchline, similar distance away from the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. This is a really good position for a free kick to swing it in for the aerial targets.
It is. Look like it's going to be well, Martinelli might take it once he gets up, but looks like no Vieira outswinger. It does frustrate me these days. Well, I'm obviously watching a lot more games now live. How many players go down with a big shriek and then they're up within 5 seconds, be absolutely fine. That's not Arsenal. That's every team I watch. Every player, every team guilty of it.
Arsenal again flooding the penalty area. Oxford keeping a line level with the penalty spot. So a decent gap for Fabio Vieira to try and hit. And he's fired it inside the penalty area for El Neni, who heads it in for 1-0. Well, it's been a difficult night for Arsenal. They've created very little, but one telling set piece is all it's taken. Great delivery in from Vieira. And El Neni attacked it with real conviction. Heads it in past McGinty. And Arsenal lead Oxford by a goal to 0.
Well, I'm not sure it was even a free kick, but what a free kick after it had been given. We talked about him not being in the game first half. We know he's technically brilliant. That was a wonderful, fizzed-in free kick, outswinger into a perfect area. Keeper can't come. When it's El Neni, I think, El Neni makes it his own. Great header. The importance of set plays when you're not playing so well, eh? Absolute brilliant ball in, gives everybody a chance in there. Very hard to defend.
Mohamed El Neni, who was in the side that won the FA Cup for Arsenal back in 2017, with a rare goal for the Gunners, only his 6th in more than 150 games for the club, but an important one tonight. They continue their record of scoring in every away game on English soil this season. Oxford 0, Arsenal 1. There have been a catalogue of shocks over the course of this wonderful FA Cup third round weekend, but Arsenal have just taken a big step to make sure that they're not going to be one of them. Now, can Oxford respond? Ball brought down in the midfield. El Neni there to win it back, doing what we're so used to seeing him do so well. Ball over on the Oxford left-hand side. Wildschut is trying to make something happen. He can't. Goes out of play for an Arsenal throw. Oxford 0, Arsenal 1 on Talksport.
The only thing you would say, of course, is that I'm sure Aston Villa and their supporters thought they were going to be comfortable when they went a goal up at home yesterday. At 1, you're always in it, aren't you?
Well, a long time ago, I referenced that Wrexham victory against Arsenal back in 1992, and they led 1-0 with 8 minutes to go in that one and lost. Here come Oxford looking for an immediate response. Ball poked away as far as Bate on the edge of the penalty area. Bate clipping it in left-footed. So left-footed volley from the edge of the box from Wildschut. That was blocked. It hit El Neni. And Tomiyasu can do the rest for the Gunners. More than happy just to hoik it upfield and straight out of play for a throw. To get the ball out of harm's way.
Good response though, wasn't it? Trying to get in that Arsenal final third. Just lacking that little bit. Final pass, final touch, bit of quality. Try and present somebody with an opportunity.
And the Oxford crowd try to respond as well. It's one of the biggest crowds this stadium has ever seen. Ball played forward by the Gunners, and Elliot Moore in very, very strongly, but too strongly for the referee's liking. He's clattered into Vieira.
He's saying he wants to come off Vieira.
And the Arsenal players are indicating that the medical staff need to come on and attend to him. And that treatment will be given now. Oxford with a little bit of time just to think about how they might be able to get themselves back into this game. They would have planned for every conceivable eventuality throughout the game, but find themselves a goal down as we approach the midway stage of this second half. Listen to Oxford against Arsenal in the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling. We're made by our mates, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. And a reminder, we've got more live football coming up for you tomorrow. 2 Carabao Cup quarter-finals here on Talksport. Manchester United against Charlton. Dean Holden, a Manchester United season ticket holder, but the Charlton manager. And he takes the Addicts up to Old Trafford tomorrow. That kicks off at 8 here on Talksport. On Talksport 2 at the same time as Newcastle, Leicester. Wednesday at 8, Southampton, Manchester City. And at 7:45 on Talksport 2, it's Forest Wolves. Then Thursday, Fulham Chelsea in the Premier League. Local derby with an added edge because of their relative form and positions in the table. Friday night, Villa against Leeds. Big pressure on both of those. And Saturday, Game Day Live from 11, features the Manchester derby, United against City, exclusive to National Radio on Talksport. Game Day Live starting at 11, the game at 12:30, and then Adrian takes over at 2:30 to bring you news of all the goals as they go in from the Premier League and the EFL, including Brighton, Liverpool, Everton, Southampton and Forest, Leicester, as well as a classified results service at 5 o'clock. That's all coming your way on Saturday. And Vieira's okay, he's going to be coming back on in a moment. Free kick's taken by Xhaka, chip forward for Holding, who was offside as he attacked it, and it's a free kick of their own to Oxford. We're in the final quarter of the game, and Oxford need to outscore Arsenal in that final quarter to stay in the Cups. 1-0 to the Gunners.
I think they'll be looking for the substitutes themselves, Oxford. Get some fresh legs. I know they've made one already. Use what you can now. So important for managers in Cups and Premier League competitions. How they use the subs, when they use them.
Not necessarily a huge depth on the Oxford bench, but the young Goodrum, a 19-year-old winger who only made his full debut against Exeter on New Year's Day, really caught the eye in that game. And he's waiting. Long throw inside the penalty area here from Brown. It's met by Brannigan, a looping effort which took a slight deflection, but it plopped down into the hands of Turner, who bowls it out very quickly for Arsenal. Love a second goal just to effectively kill the tie. It would feel as though they'd kill the tie potentially. They lead 1-0 with El Neni's header some 6 minutes ago. Here's Bate. Play down the right-hand side and fired forward by Anderson. Anderson looking for the run off the flank from Wildschut. Wildschut playing on the left, and Bowden switched over to the right since Murphy came off. Bates got it now for Oxford in the midfield. Back for Anderson. Anderson down the line for Brannigan. Bate continues his run and will be able to pick it up. Bowden's got it faced up by Gabriel, who's come out from the centre, and now then he just dropped in at centre half as he saw the Brazilian come out and trap the run of Billy Bowden. Oxford have it again, and Bowden goes back inside his own half and finds Moore. Moore to McGuane. Arsenal pick up the pieces in the midfield. Bate just caught in possession. Fabio Vieira can turn, and he's played it in Nketiah. It's brilliant play and tapped in for 2. And that surely is going to be that. Arsenal have got the job done with a double strike in the space of 7 minutes. El Neni with the first, Eddie Nketiah with the second. One incisive through ball, and Nketiah continues his run of wonderful goal-scoring form since Christmas. Tapping it in, 4 in 5 for him. And Arsenal are going to be making it through to round 4.
They are indeed. It was a poor giveaway from Oxford in their own half. They haven't done that many times, actually, and there was an overload. Question was, could Vieira play the pass at the right time with the right precision? And the answer was yes. We spent a lot of money on this lad. He's shown a couple of glimpses of what he's about. We didn't see him much in the first half, but the second half the quality's come through. He's got 2 options when he passes. A brilliant pass. Great run from Nketiah. And when Nketiah gets one-on-one, you never think he's going to miss. His confidence is high at the moment. What's that, 3 and 4 for the young man? Nobody's talking about Jesus at the moment.
No, he's led the line with aplomb, Eddie Nketiah.
In fact, will he get back in if he keeps scoring? That is the question.
Well, Jesus was struggling in terms of his numbers in front of goal.
Oh, he's a great... I'm kind of tongue-in-cheek, really. I mean, Jesus is a wonderful player. I'm a big fan of him.
No, absolutely.
But I'm really pleased for Nketiah, because people saying, oh, Arsenal they'll struggle without Jesus, and he's come in and he's really done well, and ultimately he's judged on his goals, isn't he, when he come in and play centre forward?
Yeah, 6 for him now, and 4 in his last 5 games in all competitions. Jesus hadn't scored in 11 for Arsenal prior to his injury, his last one coming in the North London derby. Well, 20 minutes to go here. Oxford 0, Arsenal 2. Feels like game, set and match. And will Arsenal be able to mount a spirited fight back? We've seen a few. 2 late goals for Stevenage yesterday at Aston Villa. And Leeds came back yesterday from 2 down at Cardiff as well. Arsenal fans singing of Wembley. They haven't gone out at the FA Cup at this stage in successive seasons since back in the 90s when they lost to Millwall and Sheffield United, and it looks as though that run is going to be able to continue. And they'll have won 27 of their last 29 third-round ties. Some record, that.
It is.
Here's Tomiyasu on the touchline, the far side for Arsenal. They're right. He just played it forward. Wiltshire has turned him neatly. Good advantage play by the referee. Now, he hasn't got an awful lot of support upfield with him. He's got Taylor in the middle if he can find him. Wiltshire continues his run, and he's more than happy after a defensive touch, bearing in mind the lack of options for him to try and hit, to let the ball run out of play for Oxford's first corner.
I think Saka might be down, which is going to be a blow if it's anything serious. But I just thought he didn't really manipulate the ball. He had a one-on-one on the left-hand side. I think it was up against Holding, who's not the quickest. Move the ball one way and try and get your shot off. I was always taught that growing up. If you've got somebody one-on-one, even if you're not quicker than them, if you can manipulate it, dummy the ball, try some trick one side or the other and get a shot away, you might get lucky deflections through the legs. But he was running at a good pace against Holding there, and he didn't really commit him, didn't do anything.
Well, this is the second time that Bukayo Saka has been down. This is a hangover from that first bit of treatment that he needed. And this is clearly a concern as far as Arsenal are concerned with the big matches that they've got coming up. Spurs away, Manchester United at home, not too long before they meet Manchester City for the first time in the Premier League this season as well. All of those games with massive ramifications and implications for them. They need Saka. He's just being held back to his feet now. But, I think he's probably going to be taken off. Anyway, he'll limp dejectedly over towards the far side, and Emil Smith-Rowe is going to be coming on. Great to see him back after the horrendous problems he's had. 4 months out following groin surgery. He's only seen 52 minutes of action so far this season. But he comes on to a big ovation from the Arsenal supporters for the final quarter of an hour here. And straight away he's pressed into defensive duty because Oxford have their first quarter of the game. Left-footed, thrashed in from that far side from Bodin. It's headed away easily. Play back for McGuane, and he'll turn and hurriedly hit it back for McGinty, his goalkeeper, who controls it, retreats inside his own penalty area, then plays it back out for Marcus McGuane again. Back for McGinty once more. 2-0 to Arsenal, 15 to go.
Needs to play forward there, McGuane. Too easy to go back sometimes. You've got to be the one that takes responsibility and tries to get the team going. I know they're tired, I understand it.
Wiltshire's been lively since coming on. He's beaten Tomiyasu in one possession, running towards the edge of the penalty area, but he played the ball forward and it just split the gap between Brannigan and Taylor. Arsenal clear, and now could be in a position on the counter-attack, running towards the edge of the penalty area. Vieira, is it going to be a hat-trick of assists for him? Yes, it is. It's so calmly done by Eddie Nketiah, who scored his second. Vieira for Nketiah again, and Arsenal through with a minimum of fuss.
Great finish, wasn't it? Really, really good again from Nketiah, nice and calm.
Substitutions for Oxford United, you appreciate number 7, Billy Bowler.
It was tight, he's right on the edge for offside, but obviously the flag hasn't gone up, so we know it's going to be given.
On the back of that, Oxford will make a double change. They're taking Taylor and Bodin off, and they're replacing them with Tyler Goodrum, the teenage winger who scored at Woking in the first round tie, and Gatlin Odonka, who scored against Charlton over Christmas, an 18-year-old striker, big target man, and he is on. But the feeling that maybe Bodin and Taylor to a certain extent are being rested now for the league game at Fleetwood coming up over the course of the weekend. This one done and dusted at Oxford 0, Arsenal 3.
Yeah, it was actually Martinelli who played the ball through. A great counter, wasn't it, with his pace. did look tight, but they got away with it. And when he got in there, he was never missing. He's a natural finisher, this lad, I'm telling you. Give him chances, he's going to score a hatful in this side. I'm just looking now, see if he was... Yeah, he's offside by half a yard, but there's no VAR, so he gets another goal.
Now Anderson with the ball at his feet, driving forward, as he loves to do. Played it into the feet of Odonka. Now that'll be cleared by the Arsenal back line. Anderson has to retreat very quickly and get back into position, although Goodrum did well for him. He just dropped back in behind him at right back. So an element of fortune about Arsenal's third goal in terms of the fact that it was fractionally offside. A different day at a different venue, it wouldn't have counted. But Arsenal leading by 3-0. 3 in a 13-minute spell in this second half. Didn't create an awful lot in the first half, if anything. Kept their nerve and going to get the job done in this second. Odonka battling. He's done really well to win it back over on the Oxford left and wins a throw.
They've contributed much to this game, honestly. They've kept them at bay for a long time, and the two lads in midfield, Bate and Brannigan, they've been terrific in terms of their work ethic, they're wanting to get on the ball and make things happen. It's been an experience for them playing against this Arsenal side.
Yeah, Bate won't be playing at this level next season. He's on loan from Leeds.
No, he'll be back.
The ball thrown inside the penalty area by Brown. Tomiyasu comes to meet it. It's a good header to get it away. And teased back into the fray again from the Oxford left back Brown, who ends up on the deck, but there's no foul on him. And it's a goal kick which will be taken away to our right-hand side. Another change is going to be made imminently by Arsenal.
Well, if Saka's got a problem, they should be getting Martinelli off as well and protecting him. The game's won.
A chance to think about resting a few players, and the more significant ones ahead of the match that's coming up on Sunday. North London derby away to Tottenham.
Well, the two obvious ones are your front players, the ones who are causing all the problems, which is Nketiah and Martinelli.
Yeah, who started the last league game. Gabriel, the only other player who's still on the field for Arsenal, who started the last league game. El Neni, or who started today and started the last league game. Zinchenko and Xhaka have come on. The Gunners have it in the midfield with the aforementioned Zinchenko, a blonde-haired Ukrainian, turning neatly, working it forward into the feet of Granit Xhaka. Back for Zinchenko again, out towards Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu playing it down the right-hand touchline for Arsenal. Little flick off an Oxford player, takes it into the safe hands of goalkeeper McGinty. Eddie Nketiah on a hat-trick. Just lurking behind McGinty, waiting to see if he was going to be naive enough just to put the ball down on the deck for Nketiah to nip him from his blind side and rob him of possession. He wasn't. And McGinty will clear. Long ball forward down the far touchline. And Arsenal getting it back with Smith Rowe peeling away out towards the left, and might be able to drive forward here with real intent. And Nketiah waiting for the delivery from his hat-trick. He's played it instead towards Smith Rowe and deflects just, and I mean just wide.
Eddie Nketiah is saying to Martinelli, why did you not give me my hat-trick? He's made a great run and he's played it behind him to Emile Smith Rowe, who can't quite get his feet sorted out. Great break, wasn't it?
Well, Smith Rowe's going to come across and take this corner. We've got 9 minutes to go. And the changes are going to be made by Arsenal. Vieira is coming off and Marquinhos is on. And Tomiyasu is also coming off for Arsenal. And he's in no great hurry, Fabio Vieira, just milking the acclaim of the Arsenal fans.
Well, I criticised him at half-time a little bit, and he's come out and proved me wrong. Two brilliant moments that have changed the game. That wonderful free kick on Sonani's head and that through ball for Nketiah. It's what good players do. They have magic moments in games, even if they're not playing well.
Corner from Smith Rowe is cleared as Zinchenko plays it back down towards Smith Rowe again. So it's White and Marquinhos on for Tomiyasu and Vieira. At last change, here's Odonka for Oxford, wearing 39 and maintaining possession under duress inside the centre circle. He was just pulled back. Advantage might have worked Oxford's way. David Coote just pulling it back for the free kick, which is taken quickly by Bate. Now back into the feet of McGuane. And McGuane to his centre half, Moore, and back again. And now Bate will bring it to within 25 yards of the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. They certainly haven't been disgraced, Oxford, by any stretch of the imagination, and it's been the kind of performance that should be a fillip for them going into the league battles ahead. Difficult one next up here against Ipswich. They go to Fleetwood between now and then. Anderson doing well, driving for the Dutchman from right back for Oxford, and he's swung another corner, only their second of the game. They're going to make another double change in a moment, are Oxford. But that was a good, strong run down the right-hand side by Jarvan Anderson, who Oxford side from Lazio. He made a handful of appearances in Serie A for them. He played in the Dutch top flight as well with RZ at one stage. And he's won a corner here, which has been taken short in towards Goodrum. Goodrum getting towards the byline. Decent ball in from him. Headed away, though, by Granit Xhaka, and Brannigan trying his luck on the turn.
Why not?
Has fired it high and wide.
Why not? I like the fact he's getting all the subs on, give him an experience against this Arsenal side.
Well, McGuane's coming off, and he's going to be replaced by an 18-year-old Josh Johnson, who makes his FA Cup debut. His only appearance this season against Palace in the League Cup. He was at Dartford in the 6th tier of English football on loan earlier this season. So big night for him. And Brown is coming off as well, and he's replaced by Brandon Fleming, who comes on for his debut. They've just signed him on loan from Hull. And the 23-year-old gets his first taste of first-team football for Oxford. So double change made by them. Well, the game just beginning to peter out a little. Oxford, who've only won one of their last 8 FA Cup ties against Premier League opposition, are going to see that run extended to 1 in 9. And it's not going to be an 11th giant killing of Carl Robinson's managerial career. Remember, the 10 previous occasions that he's led a side to a cup victory over a team from a higher division. He's not going to be able to extend that extraordinary run tonight. He's done it 5 times against Premier League sides.
He's got a terrific record. He can look back on some wonderful memories from this tournament and the League Cup and previous clubs. But this has been one step too far, hasn't it, against this Arsenal side. Flying high with confidence. Didn't look in trouble at any point, really. Up their game in the second half, started making chances, and eventually were going to put 1 or 2 away. But for 62, 63 minutes, I think they kept a clean sheet. Oxford, they can be proud of that. They can take a lot of positives from some aspects of this performance.
Zinchenko playing the ball into the midfield for El Neni, the scorer of the first Arsenal goal. And the return ball went straight behind Zinchenko and out of play for a throw. Throw that Anderson will take on the Oxford right. Thrown into the feet of Bate. Always industrious, still going right to the end. Real dynamism about him. He really has impressed against Premier League opposition and high-quality Premier League opposition tonight. Bates got that again, the one-time Chelsea player, getting it onto his left foot, working it through the centre circle, finding Long, who will make his way forward. And Sam Long, who's in the Oxford side that held Newcastle at St James's Park a few years back. But no similar success story for him and his Oxford teammates this evening. Back from Long to Moore. Moore, 20 yards inside his own half, driving it forward. Odonkor is the target of the ball that's played for. Gabriel can easily knock it away. And Zinchenko just waiting for the ball to drop onto his left foot to clear, and Goodrum flicked it into him and out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Oxford right. They're just playing out time now, Danny Murphy. 4 minutes to go, and Arsenal 3 goals to the good.
Yeah, if you're in the Arsenal side, you're thinking about the next game now. Don't get involved in anything stupid. No silly tackles you don't need to go into. The game's won. No risks. Keep yourself right for the next one.
El Neni doing well, battling, turning, and getting the better of Johnson in the midfield. Now Zinchenko. Just let the ball run past him and Moore knocked it away. Chance for Tyler Goodrum to bring it forward, who seems to have a really good future ahead of him. Odonkor coming in off the right flank. He's done well and was just pulled to the ground by Zinchenko. And it's a free kick to Oxford, led with the edge of the Arsenal box, and an opportunity to score what would be a deserved consolation goal.
Yeah, it would. It would be nice for this crowd, wouldn't it? They've turned up well tonight. Send them home with something.
Moore is forward. Long forward from the back as well. Goodrum standing over it. And Bate, the other player that might fancy his chances of supplying the potent delivery. Ian Wright on television duty tonight. His name just being sung by the Arsenal supporters over on the far side as he makes his way back round to the TV position. 5 forward for Oxford, 6 forward for Oxford inside that penalty area. They've got Johnson waiting on the edge of the box as well. Is this their moment? The take home for them. Goodrum flashing it inside the penalty area. Header comes down. It's on target from Long, but it just bounces. And that takes the pace off it. And Turner can trot across his line and make a relatively comfortable save down on his knees by his right-hand post. And it remains 3-0 to Arsenal. Moore trying to get it forward. El Neni guiding it back to the edge of his own penalty area. And played out towards the Arsenal right. Worked back in field by Ben White. White, who has been part of a big giant killing act in the past. He was in the Newport side that beat Leeds back in 2018. Leeds so impressed they ended up taking him then on loan. Zinchenko forward for El Neni. El Neni 20 yards, 30 yards, almost 40 yards inside Oxford territory by the time he's just laid it off. And a shot from the edge of the penalty area is blocked. Long doing really well to get in the way. And Kedira eyeing up his hat-trick.
He wants that hat-trick. He's desperate for the hat-trick. He looks so sharp, the boy, honestly. So aware of where people are at. He's quick off the mark. He spins at the right times. He comes to feet. I really like him.
Smith Rowe for Xhaka. Xhaka just squeezing it past Goodrum. Zinchenko coming onto it. And he's played it way over the bar and out of play for a goal kick. We're in the 90th minute by the time McGinty takes his goal kick. It's Oxford 0, Arsenal 3. Crowd of just a shade over 11,500. Not a record attendance here at the Kassam because of the segregation between the two sets of supporters, but it's been a game played in a great spirit, observed in a great spirit. But away to our left-hand side, the fans are not standing on the back of low loaders now. That car park's just full of brake lights and police horses. This one fast reaching its conclusion, and Arsenal will be through for that mouth-watering tie away to Manchester City in round 4.
How's your look?
For both of them. Gabriel under a little bit of pressure. Guides it back to his goalkeeper, Turner.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I think although Arsenal have been absolutely superb this season, we've eulogised them about them a lot. When that draw was made, I can guarantee the Arsenal players would have went, oh no. I don't think City players would have gone, oh no. Oh, not because they don't rate Arsenal, but I just don't think they fear anyone when they play at home or even away, but especially at home. They just expect to steamroller everyone they play.
Well, that's one of 3 matches between these two, Arsenal and Manchester City. Still between now and the conclusion of the season. We're in 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game. Oxford throwing the ball back to goalkeeper McGinty. There's no shock here in Oxfordshire at the end of a brilliant weekend of FA Cup action, but we do know after the games that were played and the draw that was made yesterday, there's going to be at least 7 sides from outside the Premier League that make it through to the 5th round and the last 16. Oxford with one last chance potentially to be able to get themselves on the score sheet. Martinelli defending the run of Anderson, hit a back pass to his goalkeeper. Turner gets it away, and Martinelli then just given a little shove by Anderson out of the ball, underneath the ball. Zinchenko played it back to Martinelli, oblivious to the fact that Martinelli had actually stumbled, so was off the field, and the ball soon joined him, and it's out of play for a throw. Final thoughts then?
Job done. Job well done in the end by Arsenal. I expected a response second half. I think there would have been a few words. The intensity was better. They were getting forward more quickly, playing more forward more quickly, I should say. But credit Oxford. I mean, to keep that Arsenal front line for 63 minutes to 0 was a great achievement, and they did it with good organisation, with real discipline and good energy and fitness and all those things they did well. So that's what they can take from it. They are capable of being defensively solid when they want to be. Just lacked a little bit, didn't they, in the final third when they got into those good moments. But overall, I think you'll be proud of them. But this Arsenal side, you know, they've come a long way in a year. Gathered themselves at half-time and got the job done.
Well, it's been a weekend of classic cup action on Talksport, but no dramatic final chapter in the FA Cup third round story. Arsenal had to wait more than an hour for the breakthrough, but 3 goals in 13 minutes. 2 of them scored by Eddie Nketiah. Got them over the line for that mouth-watering 4th round visit to Manchester City. Oxford really gave a good account of themselves. Held out well defensively for more than an hour. Ultimately, though, class told. Cole Robinson will be pleased with his side's performance. Mikel Arteta will be delighted with the result. And there's no shock against lower division opposition for Arsenal as there was on January the 9th last year. This one finishes Oxford 0, Arsenal 3.
Well, the Arsenal players in those white shirts, no more reds, the campaign, go over to the Arsenal fans opposite us on the side of the pitch and applaud them. Eddie Nketiah must be wondering why they're all singing Ian Wright's name all evening when he's got a couple of goals. To see them through a third round tie, which last season proved so troublesome for Arsenal, but also proved in the end to be part of a month that was a turning point for the Gunners. And here they are in the 4th round, top of the Premier League table, still in Europe. It could be something very special this season for Arsenal. It's already going to be way better than it has been in previous seasons. And what a tie it's set up, Danny Murphy. Manchester City against Arsenal. It's in with a chance of being tie of the round.
Two teams who are playing the best football in our country at the moment, going toe for toe. It'll be fascinating. We'll have to wait and see what teams play on the day, of course, what personnel, but you think that Arsenal will go for it. It looks like Arteta's going to give every competition a go. Whether that's right or wrong, we can discuss when we've got more time, but yeah, you can't go to Man City and not play your best team because you give yourself absolutely no chance, that's for sure. But they got the job done, another win. They don't look like a team where they've got weaknesses. They don't look like they've got any problems. Yes, maybe strength in depth could be talked about a little bit. But that Eddie Nketiah tonight has shown his quality again, hasn't he? The willingness to do the running without the ball, the quality with it, filling that void that's been left by Jesus. I think for Arsenal, the only down point tonight is obviously we'll have to wait and see how Saka is, but he went off holding his leg twice. He got it treated. A big game at the weekend, hopefully he'll be fit for.
Yeah, North London derby on Sunday, 4:30, and Saka did hobble off, and maybe that's the only thing you could really level at Arteta, that with the game, I think even at 1-0, you know, they were going to win the game, but it was 2-0, 75 minutes gone, and he's gone down, Bukayo Saka. He shouldn't still be on the pitch, should he?
He shouldn't have been. I don't think he should have started, to be honest with you. Now, you could argue they don't have players, but I was talking earlier to someone about upstairs about the lack of Arsenal youngsters. Usually they've got terrific youngsters coming through. I mean, when I say not youngsters like Nketiah, but younger than him, who are ready to compete, come off the bench and show their quality. They've had a great youth policy over the years, but they are lacking numbers, and I expect them to do a bit of business this window. They're still in what 3 of the competitions, I think I'm right in saying, and they need a few. They need some fire. They need some backups to the firepower they've already got, don't they? They really do.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at Oxford. It's fairly obvious to see what the problems are.
Yeah.
Up top, there's no dynamism, no pace, no threat really.
Exactly that. I mean, they are up against high-quality defensive opposition today, but yeah, they got into some really good areas. Looked good defensively, nice and solid. The midfield 3 have a go, don't they? They're creative. They want the ball. Front 3 lacked the cutting edge. There was moments, but not enough. And you can certainly see why at their level, you know, they make chances, they dominate games, but they don't score enough goals. And that'll be something he's more than aware of, Cole Robinson. Something he'll want to address ASAP.
You could see why they're bottom half of League One.
Yeah. But they play decent stuff, don't they? And I was looking, I think we were talking earlier, weren't we, about the XG, the expected goals.
About 3rd or 4th in the league.
Yeah.
And yet they're 15th.
This tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was proven tonight with the performance. But fair play to Arsenal. And in Vieira, they've got a player, a new Vieira, if you like, who cost over £30 million. Look at he's young, so there's, his time will come. But you're kind of looking, thinking, well, you know, is he going to break into this team? What's going to happen? Should he go out on loan? He comes into a game like this, has an impact, couple of assists.
Well, what he's capable of is splitting a defence, and he's capable of whipping in great balls because he's got great technique. Where he's lacking a little bit is physically, when it gets a bit rough. You know, goes down a bit too easily, doesn't see the tackles coming, but that comes, it takes time. What he has got is the capability, as I said, of making things happen, wow moments, game-changing moments, and that's the key for any creative player. You don't want to bring a player in who can do what the other players already can. But he's got a way to go because, he, as I say, the Premier League's physical, and Odegaard now is looking like the full package in that position. Someone who can do the work without the ball and brilliant on it. And he's going to have to learn that. But what a great place to be. What a brilliant coach to have in Arteta to help teach you. And what a great bunch of players around you to learn from, the experience, the likes of Odegaard, who he had to be patient in his career. You know, he was signed Madrid at a young age and had to watch those around him. So he's got time, Vieira, but those two bits of magic in the second half were really pleasing for him, because first half he looked a bit off it, and then to come back and have the strength in, you know, mentality, the confidence to play that free kick, or to put that free kick in and play that pass to Nketiah was really good for him, really good for his confidence.
And Nketiah himself with a couple of goals. Now, you raised a point tongue-in-cheek during commentary about whether Jesus would get his place back. Arteta said that behind the scenes, what we don't see is that Jesus is, in Arteta's words, living with the team. He's still around the camp, he's still around the place, he's around the players, he's being a leader, which is why they brought him in. He's being the winner that they wanted in the dressing room and around the training ground as well. He's all smiles. And I do wonder, actually, when you've got a striker who's in form, and all he ever said, Nketiah, all along, when everybody was doubting him, all he ever said was, if I get a run of games, I think I will score you goals. Well, he's getting a run of games, and he is scoring goals. So it's about 7 weeks, I think, Gabriel Jesus is going to be out for, another 7 weeks or so. So Nketiah's goal run has got to keep going if he is going to keep Jesus out. But it's going to be a massive decision for Arteta once Jesus is fit again.